The effort to silence country music star Jason Aldean continues. They can't call his song Try That in a Small Town Disinformation, like it or not. The song pretty accurately portrays small town values.
Try that in a small town, see how far you make it down the road.
Today, Sunny Hostin on The View had, you decide, but she had a few thoughts on Aldean's songs.
We have a problem in this country about race, and the biggest problem is we refuse to admit that it exists.
Well, don't you think that a lot of this...
All right, the View segment was a while, but they seem to insinuate, at least, that Aldean's new hit, Try That in a Small Town, poses some sort of danger to young black men. But the song makes no mention of race, and if you watch the video, the people who make transgressions actually appear to be mainly white. It's largely taken from news footage. And as we said, the lyrics don't mention race or lynchings once.
Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think it's tough. Well, try that in a small town.
To some, that inspires violence and puts black youth at risk, and black youth continues to die at an unacceptable rate. Every day, 30 black Americans are killed using guns. Another 110 are shot and don't die. Black Americans experience 10 times the gun homicides of white Americans. Very often, and the vast majority of those crimes are committed by other African Americans. It's almost always black-on-black crime. Not exactly the target demographic for country music, but it is the target demographic for hip-hop and rap. For example, from the song Cop Killer, quote, I'm about to dust some cops off, cop killer, better you than me, cop killer, expletive, police brutality. Then there's the song Gimme the Loot, quote, then I'm dipping up the block and I'm robbing to up the herringbones and bamboos. I wouldn't give a whatever if you're pregnant. Give me the baby's rings and the #1 mom pendant. And Rick Ross, who said, quote, put Molly all in her champagne. She ain't even know it. I took her home and I enjoyed that. She ain't even know it. With us now, Robert Patillo, civil rights attorney, human rights activist. Robert, look, I mean, it's kind of funny to say this after our last segment in terms of talking about banning any kind of speech. So we'll take censorship off the table. But you think about the most powerful voices in the African-American community are outraged by Jason Aldean and absolutely silent when you've got songs that at their face value are glorifying the rape of conceivably African-American women.
Well, I don't think any voices are being silent. It's just that people aren't listening to those voices. I've marched with Reverend Jackson. I've marched with Father Flager. I've marched with Jeremiah Wright, where they've demanded that the FCC take action against violent lyrics in music, against misogynistic lyrics in music. But yet and still, these same record companies that make billions of dollars off of African-American music are the ones in control of the music that is coming out. I'll give you an example. About 20 years ago, the F word, as a derogatory slur for the LGBTQ community, was very common in rap music. The LGBTQ community said it won't be in rap music anymore. You can't find it in rap music today because the record companies and federal regulators made sure to take it out. I
think there's an important...
They decide not to.
There's an important point here, and it's not necessarily up to the FCC to censor, because censorship, as we talk about, is a very dangerous road. But Sunny Hostin and The View and CMT that took off Jason Aldean's video, record labels respond to economic forces. And the cultural leaders, there's the civil rights leaders, and I really, it's one of the reasons we want to have you on here, because you're a reasonable voice on this. But the civil rights leaders have talked about this. The cultural leaders do not. They completely ignore it. And I'm wondering why you think that is.
Because it's profitable. And there's a reason that we have obscenity laws on the books. Because at the end of the day, just because something is profitable doesn't mean that it's for public consumption. Otherwise, you'd have Mariah Mills and Stormy Daniels hosting The Price is Right. But they don't do that because we have obscenity laws in this country for that exact reason. So there's no excuse either for the allowing of those dangerous and violent lyrics to exist, nor the lyrics from Jason Aldean, which we all agree are over the line when it comes to to the insinuation and the dog whistle that it blows for some populations. And people don't think those lyrics are dangerous. Ask the family of Emmett Till. Ask the family of Medgar Evers. Ask the family of the Charleston Nine. What happens when people say, don't try this in our town? That the good old boys will round you up, which is a lyric later on the song. We'll get the gun that our granddaddy gave us. See how far you'll make it down the road. These are Jim Crow era lyrics. So just as those lyrics should not be popular and popularized on our public airways that we pay for, those same hip hop lyrics that promote violence and degradation also should not be allowed. But our FCC does not regulate that type of content.
Okay, so I guess the question would be, how does, and I'm going to paint a broad brush, but how does Sonny Hostin, how does the rest of, and I'll exclude you, but the African-American cultural commentators who seem so outraged right now by Jason Aldean's song, you're entitled to your opinion about the lyrics, I won't argue them with you, but how do they expect to have a moral leg to stand on when the number of rap songs that talk and use these lyrics, Cardi B's Now From the Top, Make It Drop, that's some whatever that we can't say on television, and I won't say during a family-friendly program, they don't say anything about that. How do they expect to have a moral leg to stand on?
Well, Leland, you got to get more updated dirty lyrics. Sexy Red has a song out right now that blows WAP out the water. Sukihana, we're way behind. You're years behind in your dirty lyrics in hip hop music. But
tomorrow,
look,
okay, we'll update it tomorrow.
Yeah. But look, you can go back to Lucille Bogans or Bull Moose Jackson to find dirty lyrics in music. It's just a thing that has always existed, something that titillates humankind. Cave paintings are of naked ladies. It's not something new to humanity. The question then becomes, well, what are our morals and values that we will popularize? What are we putting out forward? And I do think that we have to push our celebrity culture and our voice leaders to address this. I don't think that Kamala Harris will be sitting down with Cardi B instead of real journalists. I don't think that we should have Meg Thee Stallion at the White House for the Easter egg roll. I think we need to be putting some types of morals and standards in place that will deal with these problems, and it has to be across the board.
Well, the reason we always have you on is because you apply everything fairly and across the board. You've proven that over many years of us talking, Robert. It's good to see you as always. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.